Hi, welcome into this live. Michael here from Viral Funding Solutions. I will be going over the Employee Retention Credit Program and going through what this all entails, how it's a stimulus that you can go ahead and take on to bolster your business. Listen, through these epidemic times, through COVID and everything that's been happening, not everybody's been able to get PPP funding, SBA type of funding, SBA EIDLs, grants, etc. So there's going to be another solution here with the ERC program that I'll be getting into the share screen in a moment, showing you how to get in there and apply, how it's very fast, streamlined, and what you can get. But this program, basically, it's about how it started around the same time as the PPP did, but it didn't get as much exposure. The reason being is because there were so many tax things going into it. The qualifications were very high. It was only pertaining to certain industries. Everybody else was excluded. And so recently there's been an amendment that's been passed, signed and passed. So it's been more open and it's supplying a lot of businesses. There's a lot of money on the table, millions upon millions of dollars. So I'll be getting into that in a moment. But if you're watching here on the live, give me a hashtag live so I know you're here, a hashtag replay so I know the time interval you are on very quickly. Hopefully it's been a great week for you. I know many of you have been in contact with me. A lot of you are still waiting. Understand this. I do get a lot of people on a daily basis who want to speak with me, who will want to in a direct message, text type of format, especially phone calls. Those phone calls can't always be answered. It's not a call center for me here. So the thing is, it's always best to get a hold of me via email. You can do this via text messaging, direct messaging on a social media platform like Facebook, maybe LinkedIn, etc. And then if it's need be, we can get on a phone call if it has been appointed and it's been rightfully so. So that's what I just want to make out there. And there's a lot of money out on the table now that the SBA EIDL has been put away, and it's hard to project. People ask me, will it be available in the future? Will the Targeted Advance grant be there? And what I say to that is there is no available information 100%, but the probability, as we've been seeing the trend and pattern over time, and as our economy simulates and we get more funding and we get more money into the economy that they can be then turned into funds for small businesses and even things like the stimulus check, and the amount of debt we're taking on and how much money and currency, the value of all of that in the economy. I just won't get into in this video. I did study a lot of economics in college, but I do not want to touch on that subject on this right now. So let me get into the share screen and go through this ERC program. And I'll link to this down below in the description so you can go ahead and check it out and see if this would be a great fit. Also, let me know in the comment section, what do you need help with? You can also get my information again in the description to get a hold of me for quicker access. I have people who are filling out contact forms with specific questions that I have, and make sure you answer them all thoroughly. It will not affect your credit score, or it will all be private and only seen by myself. And I go through that information thoroughly, and I do not misuse or misbehave with that information. So make sure I'll leave that information in the description so you can get a hold of it. So what is the employee retention credit? There's going to be a video on there, but we'll cover this in a second down here. So as you already know, COVID has been a challenging time for many small businesses, especially myself included. I won't be left out of that. And so we've had to shut down, we've had to reopen up, things with the booster shot now and everything else happening outside of COVID, and businesses suffering and so much of this having to be on our shoulders that we take on every day as a business owner. I know the feeling that you have to go through to push yourself every day, wondering if what tomorrow will bring, if you'll be able to put a smile on your face. I know how cheesy that may sound, but the smiles go a long ways. You put a frown on your face with a business that's declining, or you just can't push forward, it really carries on. And like a thought that leads to another thought, that's what can happen here. So one such program is the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC, which is a generous stimulus program designed to bolster those businesses that were able to retain their employees during this challenging time. So if you were able to retain your employees, and we'll get into that in a moment, due to the extremely complex tax code and qualifications, that's the reasons why This wasn't as readily available for everybody, and it was hard to get. It is severely underutilized. Details of the program will include you can get up to $26,000 per employee, and that I believe is about like 10 plus for employees. Available for 2020 and Q1 through 3 of 2021. So if you do meet these requirements and what this includes, then I would jump on it right away, and I'll leave information down below and all types of SBA EIDL information if you are interested in understanding things like the reconsideration. And then I have a done for you templates you can pick up. There'll be a video for that. All other SBA types, grants, I'll leave a document and information for you down below so you can check that out as well as all other funding programs available for you. You've likely already heard me talking about on this channel. Qualify with decreased revenue or COVID event, no limit on your funding. ERC, it almost looks like Eric, right? You want to say that. ERC is not a loan. ERC is a refundable tax credit. So that is the difference between it. Not a loan, but it's a refundable tax credit. So then we can view information here, and this will open up a new screen that we won't look at right away, but we can see the IRS tax code in a minute. So the numbers speak for themselves. 1,736 businesses have been reached, over 313 million credits recovered, 27,000 plus employees have qualified. Why ERC specialists dedicated to ERC? We need to be the guinea pig for you, your CPA. We average 10 to 20% more funding than a CPA not familiar with the program. Maximum funding, we evaluate your claim in every way possible to ensure we maximize your credit. Lightning fast results. Our streamlined process allows for faster results, which means faster funding for you. Audit protection is included. If you get audited for any circumstance, we will then supply all criteria and assist in responding to the IRS for you. ERC program specialists, our team strictly focuses on ERC, allowing us to become the experts and resulting in more funding for your business, as opposed to going to somebody who isn't an expert. And then you're having to deal with adequate information. You're not sure if you can trust the source, if it is safe and secure to you, if you will be even given as much credit as possible. And that applies to any other type of program. If you're getting funding, you want to know them inside out. Professional support, although our access is quick and painless, when you have questions, they have answers with a dedicated team of ERC support specialists waiting there for you at any moment. So ready to get started, we'll go through the begin qualification in a moment. But again, if you're just tuning in, we're going over the ERC and the Employee Retention Credits Program that I'll link to down below in the description. So just again, ERC is a refundable tax credit, isn't a loan. No limit on funding. ERC is not a loan again. So down here, what are the qualifications? While there are general qualifications for the ERC program, they are very simple. The interpretation of each qualification can be very complex. Our significant experience allows us to ensure we maximize any qualifications that may be available to your company. So full or partial suspension of business operations. A government authority required partial or full shutdown of your business during 2020 or 2021. This includes your operations being limited by commerce, inability for you to travel, or the restrictions of group meetings. So take that into account when we're going over the full or partial suspensions of business operations and how you can qualify. So gross receipts reduction. Gross receipt reduction criteria are different for 2020 and 2021. Remember the Q1 to Q3, but are measured against the current quarter as compared to 2019 pre-COVID amounts. So that'll vary, that'll be different. So we can view the table, but let's go down here. What are people saying about this program? I heard about the ERC program. I reached out to my CPA. 30 minutes later, he called and said I didn't qualify. Out of curiosity, like many of us will have, I had an ERC specialist see if I qualified. Turns out I received the ERC for 7 of my 9 employees, highly recommended by Scott Moore. The process was so smooth and painless. ERC specialist was highly professional and thorough. They also gave me advice on how to best qualify for additional funds in the future. I had a great experience and would recommend them to any business owner. Devin Rasmussen. Frequently asked questions. Do I have to repay the ERC credits? No, this is not a loan. It's a refundable tax credit. And we'll look into that a little bit more. When we file your ERC claim, we request a refund check for you. How much do you charge? Our service is charged based upon percentage of the credits recovered. We calculate and provide our fee with our free analysis. Since we are typically able to recover 10 to 20% more than someone less familiar with the program, our fee is very affordable, just like a good CPA using the right team for this process pays for itself. So regardless of it, let me move this over, regardless of what cost and what fees you may endure, it's kind of like when you go to your favorite fast food restaurant. If you guys don't eat fast food, I do from time to time, and many of us have been guilty, and that's not something to feel bad about. But you go to your favorite fast food restaurant. Maybe it's, let's say, for example, with throwing Carl's Jr. And then I know you're like, oh, there are tiers to this, though. We say Carl's Jr. Now, if you're expecting to get a charbroiled burger, but you're like, no, let me go to McDonald's instead, and you're comparing the two, well, do you feel like you'll get the same outcome and the same results after you finish having that burger? Do you feel like, yes, you may be feeling full, you may be feeling a little guilty, but you feel like, hey, at least I got what I wanted and this is what I was craving. So you have to think about it that way. Would you go to a CPA, somebody who is an expert in this field and has time in business and understands what they're doing? Or would you rather go to somebody who's a less cheap, maybe cheaper price, maybe the same amount, but they don't have as much information? You have to think about what the benefit is, and there may be a great alternative, but it depends on what needs and what's going on and qualifications and so forth. So you got to take that into account. Now we go back into this. There are more things to answer. Can't I just have my CPA file? Why would I use ERC specialist? Of course, the challenge is the ERC credit is taken on your payroll returns and not through your business income tax returns, which is what most CPAs will handle. Because of this, most CPAs don't process the credits unless they process your payroll in-house. This is also a big reason why the credit is so underutilized, since CPAs don't typically handle it and they are the tax experts. It has mostly fallen in a middle ground where few are able to effectively process the credit. Interestingly, we receive a large portion of our clients from CPAs. At ERC Specialists, we have decades of payroll experience, which has allowed us to specifically focus on the understanding and maximizing the ERC program. In our experience, we have found that due to the complexity, the ERC tax code is over 200 pages. The time and investment necessary to understand that part of the ERC program, very few are able to effectively maximize the sizable credit for your business. Can I get ERC funds if I already took the PPP? Yes. In short, there's more information there. My revenue went up in 2020. Can I still qualify for the ERC program? Yes, in short. Now, this information will be down below in the description with examples and everything you need to know, so make sure you check it out. So this is all in there. So I won't cover every specific little FAQ here, but you just know that it's down there and you can check it out. And we went through all this about how to look through it, and we'll begin. Let's look down here really quickly. There's more information we can look at. So to see in the IRS tax code, if you want information on that, it'll bring up the IRS website, irs.gov, and you can learn more about how all of that works. You won't see it on my screen, but let me go down here into a summary table. See if that opens up there. Okay, so there's a little summary table. Let's see if there it is. So time period, credit rate, and you see everything on the left side, rows and columns, and what you're going to be expecting from this. So time period, we're going to go into 2021, but in 2020, you can see March 13th, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, quarter one and quarter two, respectively. And then 2021, quarter three, 2021 quarter four, not available yet. Credit rate for 2020 was 50%. Now that's been increased to 70%. So there's a great 20% difference. And that's for quarter one through quarter three, as we just kind of discussed earlier. And let me go over here. Let me actually move myself. I don't know if that's getting in the way. So let's do this. Let's go with max credit per employee. That's $5,000 per year. And now we have $7,000 per quarter. Now see how that's been extended. If the amount of quarters we have in a year, 7 times 4, what is that? You can do the math on that, right? That's like I have to answer that one. But we see the math there at 28,000 there. So if we're doing it per quarter. Okay. Now the next thing I'm looking at, sorry, I got a quick notification. Small employer, 100 full-time employees and less in 2019. 500 full-time employees in less than 2019 and not available for that. And there's just more information there. Again, this will be accessed down below. You can go to the main website and go down below the qualifications to be able to find this. So that is everything in that video that I wanted to go through. Now, just to round up with some quick FAQs, let me move this out of the way. So I started with the title FAQs, but I went into this. Now, some things that people have been wondering is, and I've been getting asked a lot, is, the same question over and over. It's redundant, but how much can I qualify for? And there are different types of business loans, cash advances with different qualifications. Some won't even tell you if you can get 1 to 2x your monthly up to 75%. Some need to look at extensive things within your account and understand how much you can qualify for. But there are fast ways to access capital. Just know that you're not limited, and just know that there's a lot of things out there. But what you may be limited on is how much you can get funding. And so just recently, and it's happened again in the past, and it will continue to happen in the future, I got a whole string of submissions of people who have tried to get in contact, and they've told me, like, look, I'm looking for expansion, I'm looking for inventory, etc., working capital, so forth. And they're like, well, how much revenue are you doing? And then they say this amount, but then they say, I want a large amount. So realistically, if you're not fitting in between like a certain category or in a certain service, we can't offer you that amount. So what I say to that is, well, if we can offer you maybe up to 75%, for example, if you're doing like, let's say if you were doing 7,000, but you wanted like 50,000, that right there already tells me, and you want it for expansion or working capital, that already kind of tells me you're not going to be, that's merely impossible. Very difficult to get even that amount, unless you're being scammed by somebody. So 7,000, we multiply that by up to 75% of that, that's 5,250 you get deposited, and it can even happen with same day instant approval with no interest rates, no collateral, and no hard credit checks. And if that's something that does interest you, and you don't have to apply business credit to it, it could just be through personal credit score, look down below in the description to find out what that program is. You can even get up to 2 million incredibly fast, even up to 25,000. So with that 5,250, what you can then do is, let's say in about 2 to 3 weeks or 45 days, you want to get to that 50K goal, or you can be flexible and say, well, now I want to take out another 5,000. Maybe this next time around, you may be approved for more. You have a good standing, you paid it off early, you did all this, etc. So, but let's just stick with this example. You multiply that by 2, you get 10,500 in total funding, but you get another 5,250 around there. Now you're at 10,500. You pay that off fast. What happens again? You keep going. You keep adding that amount, and so it trickles. And next thing you know, you're getting to that goal. If that benefits you, and if it doesn't, then it wouldn't make sense. So that's everything I wanted to conclude with. Keep putting in submissions, keep filling out these applications, and if you are unsure about them, reach out to me. There's a lot of content on this on the channel, on the blog, on social media. You'll see it across the board. But if you have any questions, make sure to get a hold of me, and I will make sure to get back to you as fast as possible. Like I said, again, I've been held up because I have many people submitting things. Just earlier today, I went through my email with a lot of people submitting through contact forms, and I went through all of them, and I responded to just about all. So if you're on social media, TikTok, other channels, I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. And I know it wasn't an extensive amount of FAQs, but we did some FAQs with the program, with the RC program, and just a little bit here. So that's everything from me. Have a great weekend, and again, reach out to me. And if you're watching this later on the channel and you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so, and click that bell notification icon so you don't miss any future videos I come out with. Okay, thank you.